I'm Daniella Genas, and today I want to share with you my 5 top tips on how to keep pushing when you really want to give up. Tip number 1, visualize what success looks like. For me, success equals house in the Caribbean, owner of multiple successful international businesses, peace and contentment in my life. So when I feel like I want to give up, I visualize all of that. I see myself sitting on the beach, sipping rum cocktails. I feel the sun burning on my skin. I see my suntan. I imagine going to my bank account and money is flowing abundantly. I imagine going into one of my many businesses and speaking to my large workforce. And when I'm really just feeling a bit miserable, I try to focus in on what that looks and more importantly what it feels like. For you, it could be anything. It could be running your own business, it could be having that promotion that you've been wanting to do, it could be losing weight, whatever it is, draw that out, write it out, create a mood board with pictures of what it looks like. And when those times get hard and it is a bit boring and you don't want to push ahead, visualize what that looks like. Tip number 2, think of the opposite. What does failure look like? If visualizing success is not enough for you, visualize failure. That to me is a very strong motivator. When I feel like I'm just fed up of all of this, particularly when I was running my previous business, there were days where I really just did not want to keep pushing ahead and I wanted to give up. But what I considered was what the alternative was. Okay, so I stopped doing this. What do I do next? I go and get a job. I go and work for somebody that probably doesn't even have half of the skills and expertise that I have. I have to force my feet into shoes that I just don't want to wear because I have to conform to whatever the rest of the workforce is doing. I have to get up and be at an office every day at a time prescribed by somebody else. I have to go out and eat my lunch at a time prescribed by someone else. I want to eat when I want to eat. And that really did motivate me. So you think about what it is that you don't want to have to be doing. If it's that you're working really hard to save for a car, for example, just imagine yourself standing at the bus stop in the middle of December, freezing. If it's that you want to get that promotion, visualize yourself in the same job 10 years from now without a promotion. What does that feel like? And that hopefully should help to push you on those days where you really just can't particularly be bothered. Number 3, get an accountability buddy. I cannot stress the value of this enough. I have 2 accountability buddies actually. One I use to help me writing my book. I've been trying to write a book for a couple of years and I've lost motivation several times and visualizing success and failure didn't seem to make a difference. So I got a friend of mine. I spoke to her, I said what I wanted to achieve. We set a specific task. Every day I would have to submit to her a minimum of 250 words. At the point that I don't submit that amount of words, she has permission to publicly embarrass me, to tell everybody on Facebook and all social media that Daniella is a failure. And that for me, I don't want to feel embarrassed in that way. So I do it, and 250 words is really not a lot, but what it does is it frames my mind to know that every day I have to do that. So instead of 250 words, some days she gets up to 2,000, but it's that process of knowing that there's somebody that is holding me accountable if I don't do it. I have another accountability buddy that every week we meet up. I've got all of these ideas in terms of businesses and what I want to achieve, so every week we meet up, we set a list of tasks that I have to complete by the next week. He comes back, we discuss what I've done, what I haven't done, and he goes one step further and he records it. And he's been, soon I'll be able to share with you, but he's releasing in a series of podcasts to track my journey over the past few months. Again, I don't like to be embarrassed, so I don't like the idea of us having the meetings, him asking me if I've done something and me not having an answer. And he can get quite ruthless with the telling off. So I make sure that I do the work. So if sometimes you struggle with motivating yourself, get an accountability buddy. It doesn't have to be some form of professional. It can just be a friend. I use a friend. Number 4, be inspired. You may not be enough to motivate yourself, and actually sometimes you may just not see what the end looks like. So actually look at somebody else's end. Look at somebody else's success. For me, I like to look at Oprah Winfrey. She is a huge inspiration to me, and not necessarily just because of what she's achieved, because she's obviously achieved phenomenal success, but because of where she comes from. I don't come from a particularly rich family. I grew up on a council estate. We struggled for money for many years. Oprah comes from even more humble beginnings than that. She's endured a lot in terms of sexual abuse, and she just had some awful things happen to her. If she can go through that and get to where she got to, then how can I make an excuse because I grew up in a council estate? So look for somebody that inspires you, read their story, let them be an inspiration to you. And number 5, accept that struggle is part of the journey. Anything worth having in this life, you're going to have to work hard for. And if you don't want to work hard, if you don't want to go through those down days, if you don't want to have to keep pushing, choose something else to do. If it's not for you, it's not for you. But if you really want to achieve any level of success, you're going to have to work hard. And struggle and hardship is part of that struggle. It's part of the journey, and it's something you have to go through. So choose to accept that this is part and parcel of where I'm trying to get to. So just to recap, number 1, visualize success. Number 2, visualize failure. Number 3, get an accountability buddy. Number 4, be inspired. And number 5, appreciate struggle is part of your journey. Enjoy that journey. I'm Daniella Genas. Keep pushing.